Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Valentine's Day, and we are all about self love today. I arranged a collab with several other Lolitas, and we're going to be talking about maintaining your peace and self care while in Lolita fashion. And just like all my other tea time videos, we're going to have a little sip, have a little chat, and we're just going to have a great time. So let's get started. And the tea we're having today is actually called Love. I picked this tea up in London last year. It's a blend of chamomile, rose, and lavender. It's so delicious. I really like to pair it with some Irish sweet cream. It gives it like just the perfect little touch. It is just wonderful. I have it probably almost every day now, and I hope you like it. Here you go. So I have my notes here. I'm going to be looking down at them a little bit while we're chit chatting. Our first question is, how do you practice self care as a Black Lolita? So, as a Lolita in general, one of the things that I like to do is tell people to get out of their head when it comes to Lolita fashion and not to compare themselves from person to person. When I first started, used to struggle with that. I was new. I didn't have the budget to buy the dresses that I want. I didn't know a lot about Lolita fashion. So I found myself having issues with my self esteem because I would compare myself to people who have been in the fashion for 10 plus years and I would feel inadequate. And it at some point made me want to stop dressing in the fashion when I had been new. But something that I've learned is that you cannot compare yourself to other people just in general. It will never work out correctly. So, something that I do now is I just compare myself to myself. I am my own role model, I am my own standard. I am just an enigma all of my own. I don't try to be like other people, I just try to be like me, and I try to find what Lolita fashion means to me and really lean into that. When I started out, Lolita fashion meant looking like a doll. And I didn't look like a doll. So I was feeling like I didn't belong in this fashion. But now, what Lolita fashion is to me is just an expression of my own creativity. And it's something that is constantly evolving as I grow older, as my style changes. So I will say my biggest self care thing is to really reflect on what Lolita fashion means to you and to just go with that. Do not compare yourself to other people. Do especially on social media, don't compare your following to other people, don't compare your likes to other people. Just try to be the best person that you can be and find contentment within yourself. Another thing that I like to do is indulge myself as much as possible. I am a princess and I pamper myself constantly. In preparation for Valentine's Day, I went out, I spent a lot of money to get my hair, my eyebrows, my nails, my feet. I got my whole body done because I feel that when you look your best, you feel your best. So I always try to make sure that I keep myself up and just look as presentable as possible at all times. I also like to buy myself little things here and there. I am not in the place where I can buy myself a dress every 2 weeks like I used to when I started out in the fashion and I was living at home. But I still do buy myself like a necklace every now and then when I can, or if I see some pretty earrings. And it's like, why not? Why not just get it? Why not just get it for myself? So I try to indulge myself as much as possible. I try to pamper myself as much as possible. And I also lean into my hobbies. I have a lot of Lolita related hobbies. Like I make jewelry, I draw, a very shameless plug for my Etsy shop. I actually created a coloring book as well as a Lolita activity book. So I like to do things like that. And I like to stay out of community drama. That's something that we're going to talk about later on. But those are the things that I do to practice self care. So, our next question is, what is your fondest memory from being in your local com? This tea is so good. Let me tell you something about this Irish sweet cream. Perfect. Chef's kiss every single time. But my favorite memory from being in my local com is actually my first memory from being in my local com. my very first meetup, which was a Harajuku fashion walk in Baltimore that happened, I think, 10 years ago. But still, every time I think about it, like, my heart just gets so happy every time I go to Baltimore. And Baltimore can be a situation sometimes. No hate to anybody that lives in Baltimore. But every single time I go to Baltimore, I think about that meetup and I think about the people that I met, and it just makes me so, so happy. I was so nervous that day when I was going to my first meetup. This would be the first time that I met Lolitas in person. This would be my first time wearing Lolita in public. So there were a lot of feelings that were happening, and I was just struggling. My anxiety was through the roof. I was nitpicking my chords, and you know your first chord is it's never perfect. So I was nitpicking myself so bad. I was like, oh, but if they don't like me? Like, what if people are mean to me? And it was a situation. But when I got there, just how nice and helpful and kind everybody was. Like, it was over 100 people there. And the way every single one of them fully embraced me, they didn't even know me. They only knew me through a Facebook group, but people were very excited to see me. They were complimenting my cord. They were giving me little pointers here or there. I actually met up with some Lolitas before the meetup started, and they helped me to. We went to little shop in the mall, and they helped me pick out accessories that would better match my cord, and it just made me feel so accepted for the first time in my life that I will always treasure that memory. I still have the pictures that I took from that day, even though my cord was crazy. And I'm still friends with every single person that I met there. And if you guys are watching this, I just want you to know that you really are the reason that I remained in this fashion. The way that you accepted me, the way that you embraced me, the way that you mentored me, really changed my life. It truly, truly did. And I am so grateful for every single one of you. Thank you so much for everything you did for me that day. You will never know how much of an impact you had. And I truly love you all for it. And that is my fondest memory of being in Lolita fashion. My second fondest memory of being in Lolita fashion, I think, was when I went to the mall in Lolita with a friend, and I ran into two random Lolitas from out of the country. They didn't belong to any local com. They were just Lolitas out in the wild. And we saw each other from across the mall. And we just had this moment where we got so excited to see other Lolitas that we just ran to each other. We embraced each other. We were just jumping up and down, giddy, touching each other's clothes. And it was so wonderful just to see the global community and how there's acceptance everywhere, especially as a Black Lolita. Sometimes that acceptance is a little harder to earn, but these people were just they were just happy to see Lolitas, and it's like we really are a global community, we really are a global family, and it just made me so happy. So every time I go to that mall also, I think about that moment, and it was just wonderful. Let me refresh your tea before we get into these next couple questions, because some of these are going to get a little heavy and the tea is probably going to get a little hot. So, our next question is, how has your journey with Lolita fashion positively impacted your life and your mental health? So, let me tell you a little something about my journey with Lolita fashion. No, but really, Lolita fashion has profoundly impacted my mental health for the better, I will say. And in many ways, Lolita fashion has saved my life. And without Lolita fashion, I probably would not be here today. This is something that I kind of talked about before in a video, but I was raised in a cult. I was raised in a doomsday cult that was very oppressive. It was a lot of judgment and unacceptance. And because of personal circumstances with my family, I was just raised in hate. I was raised in hatred and abuse and not being accepted for who I was, not being encouraged to pursue anything, not being encouraged to pursue my dreams or education. And I didn't have friends and I was shunned a lot from people. So it was not until I found Lolita Fashion and the community that came with it that I saw that who I was okay, and that I could make friends and have unconditional love and be accepted and be worthwhile as a person. I was actually talking to my mother, and mom, if you're watching this, I am going to bring up some things. We were talking the other day about my father and about the way that I grew up and things that I have gone through with him, abuses that I suffered because of him, that we all suffered because of him, abuses that we suffered because of the men who were running the cult that we were in. And we talked about how the first thing that we learned in this cult is that we are worthless. We are dust. We are not worthy of love. We're not worthy of God's love. And because we were women, we were second class citizens as well. So imagine growing up with that mentality, you never being celebrated. Anything that you wanted to do was shot down. Everything was a sin. Everything was just, you were just the worst. You were the worst. And you being a woman made it even worse. So imagine going from that for, I'll say, I don't want to say how old I am, but imagine going from that for the majority of your life. And then you starting to get into alternative things, alternative ways of life, alternative ways of wanting to dress, when you are taught that you should be in a hive mind, in a monolith, like you should look and think like everyone else. And then you meet a group of people who are dressed in the way that you like, and it's just okay. Like you being yourself is just, it's okay. And I remember on my first meetups, I was so nervous to talk to people because I was used to being rejected. I was used to being judged. I was used to abuse. I was used to being shot down. I was used to being told I was worthless. I was used to being hurt all the time. So to go from that to this community really changed my brain chemistry. It really taught me that I am a worthwhile person. I do deserve to be alive and I have a place in the world. I have a purpose and that it is okay to be different. That is the biggest thing that I took away from my first times in Lolita fashion is that it is okay for me to just be who I am. And I was in a place where I was thinking about leaving the world. And it was through going to meetups and talking to people and being able to talk about my feelings and just that my feelings were validated, they were accepted, and like people embraced me, people checked up on me, people like held me accountable for wanting to get better. It really truly like changed my life. It impacted every aspect of it. And when I left the cult and I left alone, I had no family, I had no friends, I had nothing. And just the help that I received from, sorry, the help that I received from people when I left and just they helped me to like get a job and a place to live and all of those things that you need in order to be like a functioning member of society. And to think that I got all of these things just because I'm a good person was such a new idea for me. And yeah, Lolita fashion saved my life. It truly, truly saved my life. And it continues to save my life time and time again because without this community that I have, and it's more than just clothes to me, it's the community. Without the community that I have, I would be nowhere. So, everyone in my community, I hope that you do realize that you have changed my life profoundly. You have rescued me time and time again, whether you know it or not. And I will always be grateful to you. I owe my lives to you, which is why I will always go to the bat for you. I will do anything for my community members. And I'm just happy to be here. I'm I'm just happy to be here. Oh my goodness. Let me tell y'all something. I am usually not like emotional, but I don't know. Thank goodness for setting spray. That's all I gotta say. So, our next question is: what is one piece of advice that you received from someone in the Lolita community that positively impacted your outlook on J fashion? So, one very random piece of advice that I got from a friend like 9 years ago, actually, it was Shayla, and she's a part of this collab too. Shayla, when we were at that, it was like a Valentine's themed high tea at Otakon. It was like 9.5 years ago. And I was wearing brand for the first time and obsessing over my outfit. I was really upset because my shoes didn't come in time. And I had been texting you like constantly, just going crazy about the shoes, about everything about the cord. And we were talking about my anxiety, and I was there just thinking like everybody was going to be mean to me because I didn't have the right shoes on. And it was just, I was spiraling. I was spiraling so bad. And you took me to the side. I don't even know if you remember doing this, but you took me to the side so quickly, and you were like, chill out, it's just clothes. And then you helped me fix my petticoat, and then we went in together and it was fine. But that little moment of like snapping me back into reality really positively impacted my outlook for the rest of the day, because when I was looking at other people, I wasn't judging them. I wasn't, trying to look for things to nitpick with them. And I know that that was just a response from the cult that I was in. That's what I was used to experiencing. But I was looking around and I was like, it's just clothes. It's just fabric sewn together, and it's not that serious. You know what I mean? Like, it really helped me to get out of my head when it came to Lolita fashion, because I worked in fashion at the time. I was working for a fashion company, and I never got in my head about, putting mannequins together or anything like that, because it was just clothes. And Lolita fashion is the same thing. It's just a dress. It's just fabric and lace and jewels or whatever, but it's just clothes. It's not that serious. And it really helped me also to remember that my personality should not change just because I'm wearing Lolita fashion, also, that I should just continue to be myself and to just exist. Like, I'm just a person in a dress, and it's not that serious. It's not that deep. So thank you for that advice, because 10 years later, I am still telling myself that when I start to get in my head, especially before I make a video, if it's going to be something for social media that a lot of people are going to see, I can get in my head a little bit about it and overanalyze and feel like everything has to be perfect and I have to be perfect. And it's just close. Like, I tell that to myself still. And I have flashbacks to that memory still of you just pulling me to the side and telling me to chill out. And I tell myself to chill out. So that is something I will say to you guys as well, especially if you are new. It is just clothes. It is not that serious. It is nothing to obsess over. It is nothing to change your personality over. It is nothing to bully people over. It is just fabric, and you will be okay. Not that serious. It's just clothes. So we are at our last question, our big question, that is, how do you protect your peace as a Black Lolita? So protecting my peace has a lot to do with staying away from negativity. I am allergic to negativity. I am allergic to drama, and I stay away from it as much as possible. So that takes many different forms. When I am out and about and people are harassing me or something about what I'm wearing, or, people like to catcall or, little Bo Peep and all that stuff, I don't give it any energy. I don't argue with people. I don't even half the time now take the time to explain the whole history of the fashion and everything if the person's really not trying to understand. Like, I pick my battles when it comes to explaining Lolita fashion. I also stay away from calm drama. Like, thankfully, my calm doesn't have a lot of drama, but there have been some people, especially recently, that I have had to cut out of my life because of negativity, because of jealousy, because of just how they are towards other people. And it just didn't resonate with who I am as a person. So I just felt like they needed to be out of my life. And I am not afraid of cutting people out of my life. I don't hold on to people just because I'm afraid of backlash or afraid of seeing them at a meetup or anything. Like, I keep things cordial, but I do protect my peace in that I set boundaries and I do not hold on to things that do not serve me. Another thing that I will say is to stay off of CGL. Stay out of those ETA forums. Those are not good for your mental health. It is not nice to bully people. I do not pay attention to those. I've heard that I've been posted in some. I don't care to see it. I don't want to know about it. I really do not care. When Behind the Bows was a thing, I heard I got posted there as well. Did not care about it. Didn't want to know about it. Stayed out of it because it serves no purpose. So I would say to stay away from those if you want to protect your peace and protect your mental health. Some other things that I do is I try to spread love and spread kindness. Like I mentioned before, I grew up with a lot of hate. So I try to spread as much love and to be kind to as many people as possible, not letting myself get taken advantage of, but I do try to treat others the way I want to be treated. It's a very simple thing that we learn in kindergarten that we really should be doing more. So I try to help people where I can, give advice when people ask for it and make it positive. Try to help new people with putting chords together or finding resources. And I also just work on myself. I work on my personality. I work on things like journaling, getting my feelings out, acknowledging my feelings, saying that my feelings are okay, that they're valid. And I take my medication. I just try to be a good person. That is how I am protecting my peace. I try to be a good person. I try to surround myself by good people. That is the only thing that I wish for myself for 2025 is just to be nice and to be happy, to be perfectly honest. And that is pretty much it. We got through all the questions. I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that you found your tea delicious. And I hope you learned some new things about how you can protect your peace and practice self care while in Lolita fashion or just as a person in general. And in the honor of spreading love on this Valentine's Day and giving you some things you can do for self care, I will be offering a little bit of a giveaway. So I talked about earlier that I created a coloring book as well as a Lolita activity book. Both are available in my Etsy shop. But for this video, I will be giving away 2 signed copies. And the only thing you have to do in order to be entered in for the giveaway is just comment down below and tell me about some of your most precious memories in Lolita fashion. I would really love to hear what you love about this fashion, what you love about your community, and just some good experiences. Let's just spread some positivity in the comment section. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all of those things. Follow me on social media. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. You are loved, you are valid, you are amazing. Bye bye.